We'll call the meeting to order and we'll do a roll call. Lori, would you do it, please?
Becky?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. I'll do roll call.
Okay, thank
Becky
you.
Klein here. Diana Larson. Here. Diane Hunt.
Here.
Dennis Minich.
Here.
Sherry Peters. Here. I remembered everybody's name today. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you have a new, we have a new agenda.
Either one if they don't have one.
No, can I just verbally add the change?
Yes, you.
Okay, number 3, policy revisions is going to be number 4 on new business, and number 3 will be the lease discussion amount.
There's the.
We got it.
Okay.
They were sitting up there.
Okay. So look over the new business section. And I would make a motion that we approve the agenda, the new agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Diane. Do I do a roll call or let's do a roll call just to cover us. Lori, please?
Becky Klein?
Yes.
Sherry Peters? Yes. Dennis Minich?
Yes.
Diana Larson?
Yes.
Diane Hunt?
Yes.
All right. On the consent agenda, Lori just gave you new payables. And
Just the one change I have noted there.
the one change is, notice that the lease amount or the rental amount for Harrisonville is omitted until after our action item, correct? Any questions? Would y'all clarify the BOK, how often we make that $300,000 payment?
That'll be twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yep. We have
Okay,
a schedule, one is due in April, one's due in October.
okay. Thank you.
That's that Bach financial one.
Yes,
that you're
ma'am.
talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
Thank
had a
you both
question
on
mark on mine beside that. I was like,
Okay. Any other questions? Rent, the minutes? Anything else? Shall we approve the agenda? The consent agenda? So, make a motion.
Make motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Diane.
Second.
Dennis? Roll call, please.
Becky Klein?
Yes.
Sherry Peters?
Yes.
Dennis Minich?
Yes.
Diana Larson?
Yes.
Diane Hunt?
yes.
Okay. Public comments? Okay, very good. Moving on to unfinished business. That will be the story walk for Pleasant Hill. And at the same time, I want you, oh no, let's approve that as the first of all. All Pro Asphalt, no, Asphalt Paving Services was the winner of the bid for $35,859.98. And they have been vetted and everything is clear for them to get started. Any questions or comments about their services?
I wondered, how quickly are we gonna do this? I was just reading in their bid where it talks about, because of the volatility of oil prices, they can't guarantee a price. I thought, ooh, should we wait a bit till, is the price gonna pop up?
Well, the plan's to get it done before summer. I think there were dates I don't think it's in your packet, but when we put out the bid or request for bids, there was a time frame that we were specifying in there. So I believe it's supposed, by contract, it would start by middle of April and be done by middle of May.
I think it said that they only guarantee the price through February. And maybe I read it wrong.
Well, they had, no, I mean, they submitted this in response to the bid, where
Right.
the bid specified that you guys wouldn't even be approving this until today. So, I don't see where,
This is our final price, we based off the oil price for the month in which our work is completed. So I didn't know how much of a difference that was gonna make.
it's our understanding this is the amount. This is what we're willing to pay, and if they come back and say it's not this, then we'll be coming back to you guys.
With a change order or
Right.
something along that line,
Right.
okay?
I move we accept the bid of asphalt paving services.
Right. Right. Roll call vote, please, Lori?
Becky Klein?
Yes?
Sharon Peters? Yes. Dennis Benning?
Yes.
Diana Morrison?
Yes.
Diane Hahn?
Yes.
I'd also like to announce at this time that Goppert Foundation out of Pleasant Hill has agreed to grant us an amount of money to pay for this. And they will be funding the first phase of this story walk. So we appreciate that, and appropriate thanks will be sent in the next few days. All right. Next new business, a letter to the city of Harrisonville. As you know, last month, after we approved the city fees for Harrisonville, it was brought up that Harrisonville had granted other relief to other businesses within Harrisonville to waiver some of their fees. And so I asked Robin at that time to investigate it, and Dennis did a little work on it too. And so you have in your hand a letter that Robin drafted, and I've reviewed it, and you have a list of the fees of how these have already been paid, of which Harrisonville charged us. And so Ms. Stanton requested that we send her a letter, and that will start the conversation in a more formal way with Harrisonville. And some of these fees may be adjusted and refunded to us. Any problems with the letter? It's just to open the discussion.
And so that everyone understands, you basically got two different types of money in here. You've got money that actually costs the city,
Yes.
and then you've got some that are just fees. And so anything that actually costs the city money, like a transformer or whatever, you're probably gonna pay for that. But where the relief should be given, and I saw somewhere where it was, just like on the plan review, was $16,000. And it's like, really? The city spent $16,000 reviewing the plan? And so, and the permit fee just based off the valuation. I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think we shouldn't get it all back.
No.
The city has some expenses, but, they're charging for some fees that, if an individual was building a house, yeah, they'd have to go inspect it or whatever. Whereas here, it's all kinds of done. So, that is in essence what we're asking them to waive, is some of the just fees.
Right. So if you agree to this letter, I need an approval so I can sign it and Robin can send it to the city. Any other questions for Robin? Or we've got Navigate here, so. And Navigate had already asked once.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we're gonna try again.
Doesn't Hurts to ask again.
It doesn't hurt. No, not when we have some history behind it.
I make a motion that Becky signed the letter
Second.
and then send it.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Becky Klein,
Yes.
Sharon Peters.
Yes.
Dennis Minnick,
Yes.
Diana Larson.
Yes.
Diane Hahn.
Yes.
All right. All right, let's go down to item number 2, consider approval of planning and site analysis, and we have Joe and Todd, is it? Here. And we have their task orders here for starting to look at Raymore property. Do you have anything you want to say to us here?
Absolutely, we thought we would just quickly remind everybody what we did when we started the Harrisonville project and go through and just the actual scope of work that was suggested for Raymore. And this first slide is simply the introduction. This is the agenda, advancing the Raymore branch discussion. Rob's going to speak to that in a moment, then we'll actually go through each of the line items of the task order, what our deliverable will be, and then have any questions and answers should we have those. So
Okay.
next slide is why Raymore, why now? I'm going to turn it over to Rob.
Yeah, so, North Cass County, and specifically the Raymore area, has been and continues to see strong population growth. Mid-America Regional Council did, some data, projections for us when we were doing our, meetings last year in preparation for the, capital improvement plan that we were working on. And they were projecting that by 2050, so within 25 years, the population, which the census in 2020 was about 22, almost 23,000 people, they're projecting it to grow to 35,000. And so what you have when you have that kind of projected population growth, obviously we also have an aging population throughout the county, but concentrated in that area as well. Raymore's Blueprint 2045 plan actually references the library as a partner in expanding programming for senior services in their community. There's demand for meeting space, as we've seen with the usage of NRC, programming and events for all ages, including seniors, and just general access to library services. The demand increases when you have higher population. So that's why we've been talking about Raymore for many years, actually. And we thought now would be a good time to potentially go ahead and take a look, because property availability and pricing can be variable, and the longer you wait, the less opportunities there might be. We're not in a rush right now, so it gives us kind of the luxury of being able to really be discerning about what's available and what we might find to fit our needs in the area. So this isn't committing us to anything. This is how we started with Harrisonville, is just a kind of to look and see what do we need, what's available, and kind of gauge the process. So
The advocate's role on this, and the reason why I'm here, I think really is because we support a lot of public agencies and acquisition of property. Did so with you, with Harrison. Our objective when we tackle this is not the objective of an architect or a broker. Our objective is to put a financial equation together to see if it even makes sense. You had previously gone through the area with us, acknowledging when you were looking at this project, that this was something that needed to be acknowledged, that we may do something Raymore. And you actually, as the board, had thrown that out as you mentioned before, made a decision that we would consider property in Raymore. It didn't mean you're gonna buy it, it didn't mean that this is a go project, but that it would be. And in that line of thinking, what we first want to do before we buy any property is understand exactly what kind of property we're looking for. So fortunately, we nailed it on Harrison. We didn't buy too little, we're using the entire 2 acres. But when we look at property evaluations, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand, quite frankly, the acreage based upon the square footage, based upon the parking requirements, based upon stormwater requirements. The beauty of the project you had here is we fought tooth and nail, but we got you out of the ground with stormwater, saved you $200,000 in that process when they were wanting to do it underground. So if you buy too small, you start paying for stuff you don't need to. You know what I mean? It's a lot cheaper to buy an extra half an acre and do stormwater in the back of the site detention pond and put a bunch of tanks underneath your site, you know what I mean? Especially when you're surrounded by farm ground and trees and everything else. So we want to really do that right, and I'll think through that with you, but again, we did that in Harrisonville, we'll start with trying to analyze with Robin the square foot of the building. We'll use that to drive parking and other things around the project based upon the need of that facility. I will say we are not architects. We're an inexpensive way based upon benchmark data, which, and also that benchmark data including Pleasant Hill and Harrisonville. So we use those as, well, what size were these? Should they be this? Should this be bigger? Should this be smaller? What's the programming we would expect, would not expect? We can create that square foot, but we're not gonna do floor plan. You know, if you were to decide you want to buy the ground and invest in the project, then that would be a much larger cost than the 10 grand we're suggesting to do that. Our job is to figure out if the math works. So we're gonna go, we're gonna do this so that we can determine a site. We're gonna evaluate multiple sites, right? We're gonna look, and people are already here, and like you said, you sent me that email today from the city saying we'd love to help. I know there's some sites that admin's looking at. We won't use a broker this time just yet. We'll go out and do a search for properties, see if we can find it through the means that exist. And then we will use resources like that. And we actually found the property you're currently on through an email that came to Robin, I believe.
A phone call, yeah.
Yeah, right, originally. So we'll be trying to seek all that. If we can't find any suitable properties that match the size and constraints we're looking for, then we may suggest that you actually hire a broker to do a further search. But a lot of times, it's not that hard to really just figure out what's out there and piece it together, especially you being a public agency, people want you. You know, it's not like a lot of properties that aren't, you're not wanting. So the idea is to come up with properties that could be available, shortlist those, do some analysis on them, again, for the purpose of seeing if there's any substantial cost deviation between properties. Our end goal is to go through the job and doing what you need, define properties, and then build a cost model that includes the cost of the ground, but also the cost of the build. Because if I was in your shoes, and I'm not, so I certainly don't want to speak for you, but what we've seen other public agencies, and what mattered to you last time is I'm not gonna buy ground unless I'm gonna do something, right? Or consider doing something in the future. There's no, same thing, we're dealing with St. Charles right now, same thing. I'm not gonna buy the ground unless I know we can build the project. Warrensburg, same thing. We're not gonna buy the ground unless we know we can do the project. So you need a picture for what it's gonna cost. Now, you can just roll out the exact same numbers you used for Harrisonville, but I can say that we did nail that budget. So we never exceeded the budget we gave you at this level. Right? We kept delivering. There was a lot of pushing and pulling, but we got to where we needed to be. I think you got best-in-class library coming for a very smart price. So what we want to do is make sure the price we give you now is something you believe in. Right? So review and evaluate sites identified by CCPL administration, conduct research on other available sites, prepare a detailed evaluation comparison up to 5, prepare a site evaluation matrix, pros and cons. The next bullet was the cost analysis I was talking about. We do a cost not only of the sites, the premium for each site. You can say, well, this site, we did that. Remember when we were looking at the site up at the county owned? We were saying the topography was so off, we're gonna have to do a bunch of fill to make this thing work. The utilities weren't there, and we're like, man, well, it's gonna cost you an extra $500,000. You guys can choose to buy that, but it's an expensive proposition. Beyond the first cost, there's a build cost. So we'll bring that data to you on each of the sites that are being considered, which will probably be narrowed down, quite frankly, by location. And we may choose to have, at the pleasure of the board and admin, give some updates, start telling you, hey, these are the ones we're thinking about narrowing down, or these are not 2 or 2. You guys all have input on all that. This is not done in the back. Then we'll come back and we'll engage, last thing we need is engage financial consultants. You have a financial consultant, we did it last time, where they'll come and wrap around, okay, if you were gonna buy this, what can you do with cash? What would you have to do long-term if you choose to buy the ground now? Someday you're gonna wanna build on it. What does that financial equation look like for you? What are your options? Whether you do it now or you do it 5 years from now. You can bank the property and come back. Whatever your choice is, there will be models set up for that so that you can make a well-informed, educated decision. And then we'll do multiple presentations to you as we go through this journey. It goes from now, if you were to say yes, to July 31st. We want to do believe it's not, we want to give ourselves some time to do it right. But by July 31st, our hope is that you've got data in front of you that allows you to make a decision on potential procurement of property, knowing what's going to go on it and the scale of the project should you do that first investment. what would you be looking at as a total investment to put a branch in Raymore? We do not do it analytics. I believe that's been done already as far as to need a branch in Raymore. That needs to be done. That would be a different consultant. I think you've had consultants work on it in the past. So I think the answer is yes, you do. So that's the thing. So if the answer is yes, you do need a branch in Raymore, where would you put it? What would it cost? What can it look like? That's our job. That's what we're gonna try to solve for you in the next few months.
Do you, I mean, everybody'd love to live in a brand new house, but sometimes the cost is
Absolutely, Diane.
way out there. And sometimes there are buildings available that need fixing, but the cost of revamping something and having the space that you need is more in line with the budget. Are we looking at anything like that?
That's a smart comment, and the answer is yes. Okay, when we looked at Harrisonville, we looked at the property that was the metal buildings there at the railroad station. It was just, we looked at the church that was out on, maybe I walked in on 59, what was it?
299.
Yeah. So yes, we will. Those will be in consideration.
Well, I know that, you know, they don't always pan out. I think the county commissioners were doing something with a branch up that way that ended up, you know, not great. And I don't know whether they ended up abandoning that project or not. I don't want to get in that boat, but
Sure, hey man, there could be value ascertained, we're all over it. A library, quite frankly, isn't that bad of a building to put in a lot of time. If I was dealing with the police station, which we search out, or a courthouse, because of the elevation need for the dais by law for the judge, or because of the hardening of a facility that you need for a police station, it makes it very difficult to buy a building. It really, people don't understand that, and it's really, really hard. We tried to do that in Odessa, buy a building for the police station, it rarely pencils. Library, very different. A library could potentially pencil. I'm not hesitant at all to look at an existing building and let you know.
okay.
Any other questions for Todd?
Well, one thing just so that for everybody that doesn't remember, when we did the bond on Harrisonville and the whole bit, the consideration of Raymore was part of that. So it's not like we're talking about spending more money. This is, at least the planning part of it,
The
the
money's
land
set aside.
acquisition has already been financially considered, so.
Then I make a motion that we proceed with the planning and site analysis with Navigate for the potential Raymore branch.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Diane. If there's no further discussion, Lori, roll call, please. Yes?
Terry Peters? Yes. Dennis Minnick?
Yes.
Diana Larson?
Yes?
Diane Hahn?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. The next item is the Harrisonville rent payment. And we need to approve the new rent payment according to the lease that has now been approved. And everything is complete with the Cass County Historical Society. And the other sheet that I gave you just a few minutes ago,
Thank you.
thank you. The other sheet I gave you a few minutes ago, this was the preliminary list of charges that they gave us, and they arrived, you notice, at a different amount. And that has been clarified, and as the lease says, it's $11,000 a month, and that's what it's going to be until they show proof or otherwise, correct? Is that
Correct.
correct? Yes.
I thought 11,000 was
It is.
It is the max.
That is the, yeah.
Right.
If it increased in the next year, they would have to show why
Why.
it increased, yeah.
Okay.
Because which costs increased so much from,
Well, they did not break down the the insurance went up significantly.
yeah,
Yes, significantly, more than double. And the the general repairs and the general line both caused me concerned. What's the difference between general and general repairs? I needed that broken down a little bit,
And
so
what was the answer to that?
we haven't gotten an answer yet. And so there is room for us to have a discussion. But at this point, the maximum, the amount that we're going to pay for April will be $11,000.
So are we just going to approve one monthly rental?
We've actually already approved the overall agreement.
We've approved the agreement.
So is this their list telling us this is their increases, and therefore that's why, I mean, we're requiring them to give us what their
Yes.
increases are. So is this what they're doing, is saying, hey, we've had these increases and now this is where we are, so this is your notice?
Well, no,
No.
so I realize that the, the $11,075, 75 is obviously over that amount. So we would agree to, if you wanted to, agree to up to that $11,000 amount, and then that would be for April. And then we can have a little bit more time to discuss with them what May fees would be, and then we, still knowing that it's only up to 11,000, and then we can clarify with them as to what would be appropriate for the next coming months.
Okay,
Would be
but
my
they were,
suggestion.
like Becky said, they really haven't discerned what's included in general and general repairs. I mean,
And I want to see which contractors,
Yeah,
are
and-
being,
yeah, the
Taking-
contractor services.
yes.
And where are the elevator costs that we discussed?
That would be under the contractor services as, I got it right here. And in the past, the elevator cost was under purchase services, which I believe turned into their contractor services. And I would like to see a breakdown of those.
Mhm.
And keep in mind too, the insurance might come down, and that might allow a lesser lease agreement too in the coming months. I mean, I think the important thing to remember is that we have agreed to up to 11,000. So they have provided 11,075. Well, we don't have to agree to that 75. That's
Right.
against the lease agreement. So the lease agreement doesn't state a total amount for each month, but that means we also can continue to work on it with them through the summer and understand what all of those fees are.
So we just need to approve an April amount.
An April amount of $11,000. And we will continue, we'll hopefully sit down and have a discussion with the treasurer and who's paying the bills for the Historical Society, and see what the true amounts are coming up to.
And I was going to say, if anybody is interested, I do have the end of the year financials from the CCIC, which came, if it makes sense to you, will kind of break down what they were paying, and doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but
Now, that line, that section right down there is what we would like to see, the breakdown.
This is where the problem is.
Yes, we'd like to see a breakdown of their contractor services and professional services,
And the lease,
particularly.
and the lease agreement does specify that the amount is based on the operational expenses for the building proportional to our, so there's a few things in there that, may not
Be
be
operational.
operational expenses that we can continue to work on with them.
Right, that's, was kind of my understanding, was that it was, every month it was gonna be what the bills are, and we'll pay our share of that, but it would never go over 11,000.
Correct.
But
And-
as-
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, just that, and considering, if we are moving out of this building in the next year, maybe some fees come off, or a couple things change as it gets closer to that time, as they're preparing what they need to do for the building. So, like you said, it depends on what the bills are for that month.
Okay. Any other questions for Lindsay or Lori or?
That's $21,209.40 more than what we were paying them over a year's time, if you include that 75.
Yes,
That's
that's significant.
yeah, that's, over 2 months of our regular rent right now.
So we're just asking for the April rent payment of $11,000, up to $11,000. As this new agreement has been approved, and we will start the discussions to arrive at more solid numbers. Right?
My, my next question is,
Okay.
we say, okay, we're gonna pay 11 because we said we would go up to 11. And then we sit down and we go through the numbers with them, and they're like, well, okay, I see where you're coming from here and there, and they're not gonna backpedal. They're gonna go 11. I mean, it's,
Well, if they can get especially the insurance significantly lower, and
you think they'll go back to 10.5? I don't think they will. I think if they can get 11 out of us in April, they're gonna get 11 out of us for the
But they-
entire rest of the year.
they can only cover operational. They can't cover money that they're gonna put into a savings account or anything like that. It has to be operational.
So in other words, the actual bills,
Right.
okay.
And that's
then
what I'm saying.
bills.
So if they're saying this is their actual bills, but then we sit down with them and we go through what some of these charges are, and it's not 11,075. It's 10.5 or 10,750. You think they're gonna backpedal and say, oh, well, we'll let you go back down to that?
I think something to keep in mind is that the fact that this happened, very close to April 1.
Right.
So they haven't been able to, I think, quite understand what their operational expenses will be. Some of these, it looks like, to me, have carried over from CCIC fees.
Yeah.
Payroll taxes wouldn't be operational expenses. So I think once we get a chance to actually talk to them about that, I do think some of that will come off, yes.
And you do think that they'll go under 11 after we've already paid them 11 one month? That's what I'm
Well,
getting
that's,
to.
I mean, yes, the rental fee is based on the operational expenses, so if those operational expenses are up to 11,000, then yes, that's what we've agreed to. But if-
I think we'll have a hard discussion with them.
Okay, I'm just,
You're right.
you're looking
You're
at your
right.
landlord. Your landlord says your rent's going up and this is what it's gonna be, and this is what you've agreed a maximum to, and now that I really don't have that high of
Although
expenses.
doesn't the contract actually say that the two sides have to agree on it?
Well, yes, it does. It does. But also keep in mind too, if insurance, let's say insurance doubled, right? If insurance comes down over $1,000, they don't, of course they could, I guess, have operational fees that cover that money, but the insurance cost is a cost, so they can't make that go up higher. So if it comes down, it comes down. That's what it is. We have agreed to up to 11,000.
Right,
But we're saying that these numbers definitely look like estimates versus actual bills.
And the Historical Society is just getting this data. They haven't really had a lot of time to
right, I
review it.
understand that.
Yeah. So the main thing is we've got to pay some rent by April 1st.
And so theoretically, if then in May we'd overpaid, we would pay less. I mean, if the 11,000 is more than the actual expense,
What do you,
we're paying them $11,000.
yes.
Okay, but we don't think the bills are actually going to amount to 11,000. Our share's not going to amount to $11,000. So we would actually have a credit on that line.
That's not specified in the lease specifically. That would be a discussion between the Historical Society and you all. I think understanding that we only have a year left in this lease, there's a limited amount of time that we think we're gonna be in this building, and understanding, being able to move on from the issues that we've had.
So basically, we're just saying, we budgeted for 11,000 for the next year, and we're not gonna go over that, so just expect to pay the 11,000 for the next 12 months or 14 months or however long we're there.
But today, we're only just doing 1 month. And we need to have a discussion. I'll sit down with the treasurer or president or whoever handles this, or others may join me too, and ask them what their plans are on resubmitting that insurance now that the lien will be coming off of that property. And I would like a listing of the contractors to see that it totals up to that number of 19,284. We need to make sure that the elevator is being paid for, that our trash is being paid for, those things. We need to watch closely these first 30 days. Am I on the right track there?
I agree.
So that's really all. We're not approving the rent for May. We're just approving the rent for April.
And technically too, we're not really approving rent based on these numbers. We're saying we agreed to
11,000.
11,000, sorry, yes, but not these specific charges. Does that make sense? These were given to us to prove what their amounts were, but we're saying that we agreed to 11,000 in the lease, and that's what the rent will be for April.
Really because of timing and just kind of a
And-
placeholder
yeah,
number for
yeah.
the amount.
Exactly.
And like Becky said, they just got these numbers. They're getting, they're taking over some stuff from CCIC too, so they'll be able to better understand what those expenses are.
And do you know, have they physically got any of the financial documents from the CCIC yet?
I don't know that yet, no. We did, I don't know if everybody is aware, we did receive the signed lease and signed settlement agreement.
So I believe we have a motion, am I correct?
Did someone make one?
Well, I make a motion to pay $11,000 for the month of April rent,
Okay.
and that's to the Historical Society.
To the Cass County Historical Society.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Any other questions or clarification? Thank you for all of your discussion. We know what we need to do in the next 30 days. Okay? Lori, could we have a roll call, please?
Becky Klein,
Yes.
Sherry Beavers, yes, Dennis Minnick,
Yes.
Diana Larson,
Yes?
Diane Hahn,
Yes. Thank you. All right, policy revisions. We have 5 of them. We'll start with fees. Do you have any questions on them, Pat? Or, no, I guess it's Robin, because it's not personnel, is it?
No, but I still write them.
Okay, okay. Do you have any clarification for us? Remember that there are no overdue fees. But
Correct.
these are fees for damages, lost items, things like that.
And it's just mostly rewording in here and then taking out where they had to prove that they paid, if they say they paid, because it's all in the system now. So we had to update the policy to match what the system's actually doing also.
Okay,
I only have one thing, you said overdue. So is there a place where we have overdue, policy for overdues?
We don't have overdues anymore.
Well, that's what I thought.
Right, these are just lost or damaged.
Yeah, so have we decided no more overdue payments, like you're 2 weeks late, you gotta pay?
We haven't had that for,
since the levy passed.
3
we
years?
haven't
Okay,
had it.
but we decided
4
to
years?
still not do
yeah,
that.
we're not doing it. And that's not even included in this.
They still send out notices when a book is overdue
Yeah.
to remind the person to return it.
Okay,
And sometimes it automatically renews through the Evergreen system, because I get that
That's
sometimes.
correct, yeah. And this is only, like I said, if it's lost or damaged.
yes.
Something applies.
how long does it have to go to become lost? Whatever it is. Quite a while.
3 times, I think, 3 times renewals, is that right?
To be lost?
To be lost.
Well, you get 3 renewals.
You get 3 new renewals and then
Then
it's,
it's 6 weeks, I believe,
Yeah.
before it gets billed as a full loss.
Okay, so eventually,
It does get,
they
yeah.
they just can't, okay,
Right.
And if they
Oh,
return
yeah.
it, then
you're right.
that gets
Right.
removed.
right, and that's one of the reasons we had to revise this,
Got it.
because if they say, I paid for it, or I did return it, our system now updates that.
Okay. 109, gifts. They can come to the library or through the foundation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And just because it's a gift doesn't mean that we have to use it. Okay. Any questions? 110, library closing, hazardous weather conditions, building issues.
I actually would just like to ask or comment that the library is always closed on holidays and that type of thing, and sometimes I feel like that's a really missed opportunity, because when you have days where students are out of school or whatever, you know, we could potentially have people come in or whatever, and the library is just closed. That's just an observation. I think it would be nice if some kind of shortened hours or something.
We had a policy on holidays a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dennis, for your comment.
I did, yeah. Some holiday, I didn't even know it was a holiday.
Yeah.
We follow the federal ones is what we follow.
But we don't follow all the state ones.
No, there could be different ones out in there,
Right.
but we do follow the federal holidays.
Okay. Number 115, smoke-free environment. I think that's no smoking, no vaping, clarification, and within 25 feet of the public entrances. And finally, suspension of privileges for health reasons. Any clarification of that for us?
Bugs.
Bugs.
It's really what it is. I mean, that's what it's talking about. Is if we get books back that are infested with, you know, bed bugs or roaches or that type of stuff, that's when we would come to this policy and suspend their privileges until we have.
Track it back to that person that,
We had a situation at the book sale that a couple of books came in, and somebody saw the book and put it back, but didn't tell us, but they called the library. And the director, the branch manager of the NRC came and told us, and he went and looked at it, and he knew what to look for, and he knew the name of the books and such. We removed that book, even though he said it did not have that, but we just took it threw it away at the book sale just in case that happened. So our staff is trained to look for these things. And
We have-
fine and.
Right. We have the whole procedure in our manual, in our Evergreen manual. The procedure of what to do and how to look for it and how to take care of it. This is just a policy that says, hey, if you do bring it back with bugs, this is what's going to happen.
And there have been situations where an entire like retirement community or apartment complex has this issue, and so this kind of gives us some opportunity to protect ourselves while then working with them to find a solution.
Okay. Any other questions? Then I will entertain a motion for the approval of policies. I'll make a motion to approve policies 108, 109, 110, 115, and 119.
second.
Thank you, Sherry. Roll call, Lori?
Becky Klein,
Yes?
Sherry Peters, Dennis Miller,
Yes.
Anna Larson.
I mean, yes.
Diane
I like to
Ford,
keep us on our
Yes.
toes, doesn't it? All right, thank you. All right, we'll go with Lee, Assistant Director, updates, please.
Sure. As you can see on there, we hired 2 people and had 1 transfer. We're currently in the middle of hiring part-time folks for Harrisonville and Archie. That should be done in the next week or 2. We didn't have any anniversaries, but we have a branch anniversary celebration coming up. Archie's 5-year anniversary of being in their new location is in early April, so
It's already been 5 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
I
were
remember
surprised
that.
too.
Yeah.
So on April 7th, which is a Tuesday, we're gonna have just a sort of celebration and refreshments, and we'll be open like we normally are, but anybody that wants to can come, and we'll have a
Do you know
celebration of
Did
some
you
sort.
say what time that was?
It'll be
Okay.
kind of an all-day
Oh,
thing.
okay.
We may have a specific time. If you all would want to come, I can let you know if we're doing a few words, or we'll see who we can get to show up to our with our
It's
invitation.
election day, I'm a judge, I won't be able to be there.
Oh,
I think it is,
Yeah,
Tuesday the
4/7.
7th.
It is,
Yeah.
correct.
That's election day.
okay. Well, we're gonna have a celebration. The date may change then.
Okay.
I'll talk with Sherry and see what she thinks. But
Well, they'll already be in town, so just.
that's true. They may
Might have more people
be
come
looking
by.
for something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our winter reading challenge wrapped up. We had 466 people complete it and get a prize, and 750 plus participants. And yeah, and Shannon from Harrisonville and I went to the Kiwanis lunch a couple weeks ago. As guests, they asked us to kind of present on the progress towards a new Harrisonville building, and kind of the process that we went through to get where we are. So showed them some renderings and kind of told them what all went into it, and they were appreciative and seemed excited. That's all I've got.
Director updates, Robbins?
Yes, I wanted to see if maybe we could plan the groundbreaking for the Harrisonville project. In the packet I gave you, so we're looking at the week of April 6th or the week of April 13th, and there's some potential dates that I put in there. Just kind of wanted to see what might work for everyone. I had thought it might be neat to do it before the April board meeting, since we're all already planning to be here at 4. We can maybe do it 2:30 or 3 over there, and then when it's done, come over here. But if that doesn't work, or you'd rather not put that on the same day, then there's some other options there. So I open it
I
up
like
for
it
your
the same
suggestions.
day. What do you
I'm
guys
fine
think?
with the same
Yeah, I
day.
thought the 15th was great.
That would work. Okay.
Will that work for you?
The only thing I was gonna say is if you did it on a Monday, you did it in that week's paper.
Pressure.
Well, we could.
Now, when,
I have to wait for next week, right?
you said, so what time did you say on the 15th?
Well, I guess 2:30 or 3. It's not really intended to be a long thing, but I don't know how much cushion we want. Maybe if we do 2:30 just to be on the safe side, then everyone would have plenty of time to get over here and actually do
say
this.
2:30.
2:30. We'll plan for 2:30,
April 5th.
April 15th,
Actually,
over,
there's been some people that have asked about that.
so over at the site, project site.
How many golden shovels are we gonna have?
We'll navigate getting shovels and hard hats, I think. And there'll be a mound of dirt for digging.
Wear your
So,
good shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes the ground softer.
Well, that's true, that's a good
For
point.
digging.
Yes, so, yeah. And then, I put the annual report, just a hard copy in your packets for you, so, but overall, I think we had a strong year again. We had 2,300 over 2,300 programs, over 42,000 people over the course of the year came and attended our events. We continue to build on both of our print and our digital materials, and we were able to make huge progress on the genealogy digitization for family search this last year as well. Of course, financially, we've already done the year-end budget, but you know that we came in under budget last year, and we were able to get those certificates of participation for our Harrisonville project, and so yeah, I think the report shows that we had a pretty strong year, and that's been filed in all the places that we have to file it. And then there was a little bit of the strategic plan update included in that report, so that you could kind of see what the end of the year held, which, for goal 1, I think we're still pretty stable. I think we had a really like pinnacle year in 2024. In 2025, some of our numbers didn't hit quite as high, but I still think we're pretty strong in all of these things, and it might just be a little bit of tweaking as to how we approach some things. Like for goal 1, we did. I don't know if all of you were here when we realized this or not, or were aware, but there was some issues with tracking our digital library users around the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, and so we saw this really weird dip, like it just tanked, and we were in the 12,000s and tanked down into 11,000, and we figured that once we figured that out, which took us a little bit to figure out what that was, those statistics have grown back up, and basically it's just taken time because we needed those individuals to engage with the library again in order to be counted. So just depended on how frequently they engaged as to how long it took for them to be swept back up into our active numbers. So I believe that's resolved now, and we're back to our previous number and still growing. So that's good. But the collection on goal 2. So when we first did our study to make sure, like, we were trying to be representative in different benchmarks of types of materials that we had for people, different interests areas and things. And back 2023, I think, is when that study was done. And we were had about like a 12% saturation in our total collection at that time. And so we've been working towards making sure that we've got more options in that area. So we've actually gotten up to 16% in our print and audio visual and 18% saturation in our electronic, our digital stuff. So we've seen progress there. That wasn't in that annual report. And we're looking at our exploration library. So our circulation in that increased pretty significantly in 2024. But it didn't continue to grow at the same rate last year. And I think, because I looked at, we've added items to that, and the items that we've added, there's been interest in pretty consistent circulation. That exploration library actually began with the STEM kits, and those have always been the most popular part of that collection. And I think what's happened is the audience has checked them all out now, and so they're not coming back to revisit them because they've experienced them. And so I think we need to expand our audience on those. So just something that we're looking at there. And then on goal 3, our programming, again, that's just strong. We've got really creative, awesome people in our branches that are coming up with programs that are engaging, and we've got communities that are really excited to participate and come to what we're doing, and then that shows in the numbers. So. And then the library spaces in goal 4, that's all very closely linked to the capital improvement plan that we did adopt last year, and we hired the facilities coordinator to focus on facilities and maintenance. We did Drexel renovation last year. We're moving right along on a Harrisonville project, so we've done a lot there. Goal 5, our outreach services. We did add the van last year. We introduced lobby stops, which last year, which has really been popular in a lot of our senior residential places. But we did struggle with staffing, and so I think we're getting stabilized in our staffing, and that combined with these other tools that we have and the interest that we've got in the lobby stop, in addition to the bookmobile, I think we're gonna see what we want to see on that this year. And then of course the fiscal responsibility, we continue to focus on that and remain very strong in very strong financial position. So, but yeah, I just kind of want to go over those things and just kind of point them out as a little update.
I'll tell you what I was fascinated. What books were most frequently checked out under the fourth wall? I mean, what 50 or 60-year-old book is a popular book checked out? Fahrenheit 911 or Fahrenheit. I'm like, really? And Hillbilly Elegy was top nonfiction. I was really fascinated. I just thought of all the books and all the new stuff there is, those were the leading circulation.
They listed every month in the monthly report.
Yeah.
I was upset, something I should be reading.
That's what I do too. Check it off whether I've read it or not, yeah. Okay, thank you, Robin.
I'll check those two out. Ready.
Dennis, do you have a CCIC report for us?
There is a special meeting tomorrow. And we met a few weeks ago, we met on the 2nd. And new board member was seated and several items were checked off, and then the remaining items that need to be discussed will be discussed tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be proceeding with the next step on some of that stuff. So I did bring, if anybody's interested, I've got the bylaws, the CCIC, I've got the latest financial reports, everything that I've got. So if anybody's been curious about any of that stuff, I finally remembered to bring it all in, so.
Okay, thank you for your time on that committee. I know it's taken up a lot of time the last few weeks and months. The foundation will meet again in April, and I'll have a report at that time. Any other trustee comments? Okay. Then I would make a motion that we adjourn to recess to legal executive session, Missouri Revised Statute 610.021.1. Thank you. Lori, a roll call, please.
Becky Klein?
Yes.
Sherry Peters? Yes. Dennis Minnick?
Yes.
Anna Larson?
Yes.
Diane Hahn?
Yes. Okay, so we will recess to executive. Thank you for your attendance.